doesn't misfire. After a controversial cylinder wall repair that most people wouldn't even attempt, I finally put this BMW N63 engine back together. The engine started and the knock was gone. I thought I was done, but then I looked underneath the car. Let me show you how we got here. The cylinder repair was already finished in the last video, so now it's time to put this engine back together, which was supposed to be pretty straightforward process. At least that's what I thought. Manufacturers advise against using metal razor blades on aluminum blocks. I still do it, but I'm extremely careful because steel can easily cut into the softer aluminum surface. Also, although I used to use abrasive pads to clean these surfaces, I would actually advise against them now. They don't really improve the surface that much, and they leave behind an abrasive dust that can accelerate engine wear if it gets into the oil. Instead, I just wipe it clean with a towel and blow it out with compressed air to make sure it's completely spotless. And more importantly, to ensure there is no trapped fluid inside the head bolt holes. This BMW engine is notorious for bad valve stem seals, which cause smoke and oil consumption. Plus, since they came in the gasket kit anyway, I'm replacing them. And I'm using a special tool meant for N62 engine, but with a little modification it works on this engine also. Just look at the difference. That old valve stem seal is not just a bigger diameter, it's also brittle and feels like plastic. Now it's all clean and ready to go. These cylinder head bolts have to be replaced every time they're removed, which is something I missed in the last video. This adds another $30 to the previous $198 budget, making a total of $228. Next step is straightforward, just torque all of the head bolts to specification and then turn whatever degree is written in the repair manual. This step is easy, but if you make a mistake it can become a nightmare, especially if you left a little bit of fluid in those holes in the cylinder block, because engine oil does not compress and it will crack your engine block. There was no need to remove left cylinder head, but I needed to replace those valve stem seals. This is where this special tool was handy. Again, this is for N62, but I made it work for this engine without even removing cylinder head. Now I'm almost done with the top, and all of these Chinese gaskets and seals went in surprisingly easy, which is suspicious, and now I'm expecting big problems when I start working on a bottom end. But for now, let's do some cleaning, because look how nasty this engine is. This oil and coolant there was leaking for a long time. Now the top is done, even this BMW engineered spaghetti mess is installed. Let's move to the bottom part. And this is how average N63 engine looked like after about 70,000 miles. But there is a way to improve this with updated rear engine cover. There are 4 main sources of leak in the back of this engine: main seal, coolant cover, this whip hole, and this main oil gallery plug, which can only be fixed with this very expensive updated rear engine cover. Time to torque these rod caps, which I didn't do yet because I needed new bolts, which is something I also missed in the last video, adding another $10 to this build, making the total $238. Notice how I marked that bolt to precisely track the angle without this special fancy torque wrench that can read angles. You can do this for any bolt, cylinder head bolt, rod cap bolts. And in my opinion, it may be even more precise than reading digital screen and just trust in it. It's also a way cheaper, old school, no maintenance required, timeless method. Here I thought I was almost done with an engine and I'm about to put it back in the car when I realized the bolt will not fit in the rear main seal threads because they are smaller and they don't fit. I think the reason is maybe it was for an updated N63 engine and the seller on Amazon didn't specify which year. Well, they did. They listed pretty much all of the years and I didn't know that there are variations. But now I have the dilemma of replacing the seal or just retapping it. You have probably already guessed what I'm gonna choose, right? I'm having a feeling that I'm gonna regret this later. Last step before engine goes back in is cleaning another mess. I feel like a cleaner when I'm working on this engine. Let's check for any major codes and then try to start it up. Fingers crossed. Time to start it up and see if it's gonna blow up or not. Sounds like the battery is really dead. Let's try another battery. Alright, battery replaced. Let's see. Let's try to start her up. This didn't go as planned. Ignition circuit supply. No ignition voltage supply. What is that? Maybe it's this. Sounds like ignition. That connector there was unplugged and it looks like a big red wire, so it could be my ignition supply. Let's clear this code. And try again. Yay! Doesn't misfire. Works good. And I don't see any smoke. Beautiful. No leaks so far. Time to add some coolant. Just a little recap. The engine's running, it's not misfiring, it doesn't make any noises, no knocking noise, and look at this. No smoke whatsoever. No smoke. Yes, finally. I'm gonna run it until thermostat opens. And then I'm gonna shut it off. I'm gonna drain that clean oil that I just put in. I hope that extra oil change will wash anything that's left out and it will leave me with a clean engine. Coolant temperature 72. Once it reaches 105, it should go down. That means thermostat opened. I'm gonna run it there for a few minutes, and then oil by that time should also be warmer and thinner, and everything should be clean and good to go for oil change. My smoothness value also looks relatively good. I would like to see oil pressure as well. Oil pressure, it shows on, but it doesn't show the actual pressure. The other thing I want to watch out for is the fuel rail pressures. Once I turn off the engine, because I swapped high pressure fuel pumps from right to left, and once I shut the engine off, I want to look at the pressures, which one is dropping. If the right side is dropping again, that I'm pretty confident it was injector number 1, because I smelled a little bit of fuel on spark plug when I removed it. But I just decided to give it a try and swap the pumps, because I don't have another injector and the engine is running just fine, so I decided to not waste my time on that. It does smoke a little bit. I hope it's just old oil burning. The other way to check would be, once I shut it off, I want to look at the turbocharger, because it could spit some oil out. I've had similar issue with X5 when my PCV system went bad and I replaced it. It instantly fixed this smoking issue, especially noticeable when you idle for a long time and it accumulates. So the way valve steams, in my experience, leak after a long idle, it smokes only on takeoff or acceleration. It leaves a cloud and then it clears up. But with PCV, I noticed that it will just start smoking more and more as you idle. Once I turn the engine off, I will monitor these graphs. This is left fuel rail and right fuel rail, and I want to see if swapping high pressure fuel pumps actually changed anything or not, because if my right rail still leaks, then it must be injector issue. While I'm testing for that, I can go ahead and drain the oil. I discovered pretty big oil leak underneath. That sucks. Maybe it's this Chinese rear main seal, which I shouldn't install in the first place. The good news is the engine knock is completely gone and the cylinder repair appears to be successful. The bad news is I've got a serious oil leak that wasn't there before. Right now the leak appears to be coming from somewhere near the back of the engine. but I still need to confirm exactly what's causing it. Hopefully it's something simple, but knowing my luck, it probably isn't. I will start tracking it down in the next video.